HR professionals can spend 40% of their time on administrative and repetitive tasks. Imagine if AI agents could take over many of those activities, providing continuous support while giving HR teams the possibility to focus on people, strategy, and business impact. Welcome, everyone. Today, we'll explore how SAP is bringing autonomous HCM to life using AI to transform HR and knowledge management from reactive processes into intelligent, proactive experiences. Thank you for joining. We're excited to have you join us. Today, I have the pleasure of having Karl Baert, Global Head of People Solutions, and Georg Arnold, IT Senior Manager, joining me. Now let me introduce our experts. Karl leads the People Solutions organization at SAP, a global team focusing on implementing technology and innovation for the people and culture domain. He oversees the implementation of SAP SuccessFactors, the integration of Joule and Business AI features in SAP SuccessFactors, as well as employees' digital experience at SAP. In the context of SAP runs SAP, People's Solutions often implement SAP's latest features as customer zero. Georg leads a team focusing on technology and innovation, also for the people and culture domain. He oversees the integration of our latest business AI features in our SAP SuccessFactors solution. He explores new technologies to enhance HR processes. Additionally, Georg is leading our internal Joule rollout. And now let's dive in. Karl, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Tania, for this introduction. I will be sharing my presentation actually to just introduce the topic indeed, explaining how we bring the autonomous HCM to life also internally at SAP. But before we do, let me also share with you how and why actually we are committed to this AI first strategy. So first of all, we want to simplify work. We really want to make every HR interaction as easy as possible. And we want to do that not only for employees, but also for managers and for HR experts. Secondly, we want to transform the employee experience. What do I mean by that is basically the interaction in the future will be with Joule Works, right? So that's going to become the primary interface with HR. And basically employees will interact through natural language rather than clicking through complex systems. So that's an important second element. And then the third reason is that we also strongly believe that a skill-led ecosystem will be the system of the future as well. So what do we mean by that? Basically, AI is changing work faster than jobs can keep up. So from that perspective, planning with skills and looking for talent actually with the right skills is becoming increasingly important. And agentic AI capabilities can actually help not only in using these skills in the future, but also in governing them. And those are elements we will also be showing here in this context during a few small demos actually that we prepared for this purpose. Now, I mentioned this skill-led ecosystem. Why do we want to put actually skills at the center? Well, basically, the reason why we want to do that is because really we see skills also as a foundational element. And although also in the past actually was quite a struggle to manage skills and keep all of this information accurate, as already mentioned, agentic AI capabilities will be able to support that in the future. And basically, skills will be supported actually throughout the entire life cycle of employees, as we call it. Like just to give you one example, when we're talking about recruiting, for example, it's much better to ensure that we are recruiting for the right skills rather than trying to translate that to job profiles, which then in the end look to be outdated, looking also at how, for example, agentic AI capabilities are evolving. So that shift towards skills and putting skills at the center is for us also something quite important. And we are basically also building on these principles to ensure that we are, let's say, better in workforce planning, but also in career development, in ensuring that we keep also our workforce very engaged, also in line with the latest technology. So that's why this element is for us also quite important. Now, secondly, I think another very nice evolution is how AI as such is also evolving, right? Like if you take a look at where we were actually, for example, with chatbots. Chatbots so far, they managed to guide an employee, for example, to the right policy. So by providing, for example, a link to the right document, which was located at a certain place in the organization. If you take a look what we can do today, for example, with the Joule digital assistant, the digital assistant can already provide much more focused information, read the content of certain policies, and then provide already some insights in, for example, here in this example used, whether somebody would be eligible for a car lease. Now, we're also going one step further and looking at, I would say, also a very near future. But the HR service assistant, for example, is able today to also use certain information which is found in a policy to actually link that with the context of an employee, for example, right? So what you see here in this example depicted is that when a manager, for example, is asking whether somebody is eligible for a car lease, the system would actually be looking at the parameters which are in use to determine whether somebody is eligible. So in other words, an employee or a manager doesn't need to look up that information anymore by providing a link to a document or the possibilities actually as they are given. System is also capable of looking at what are the elements that actually determine the answer, and then it will also look up that kind of information to provide the right answer, right? And even when, for example, also in this overview, this person, for example, would not be eligible for the car lease program, it would also clearly explain like what are the reasons, what are the parameters actually taken into account. So as you can see, also AI is evolving. AI is evolving much more into also taking the necessary context with it to provide also much more accurate answers without actually somebody having to look through either a document or the conditions actually that bring you into a certain situation. And this is also quite important for us because it allows, of course, also in terms of service to the employees to provide already much more accurate information. And this is a big step forward also, of course, as you can imagine. Now, let's maybe also have a look at the journey that we are taking and how we are proceeding actually with all of this. So we started basically our transformation end of last year, basically by looking first at our processes. So our first step actually that we took and that we are still taking, because capabilities are also still evolving, as you can imagine, is to look at our people processes through the lens of AI. And what I mean by that is basically we start off with looking at what AI can do. And then basically we are reimagining the process across these capabilities. And then, of course, we're also looking at what are then the most valuable cases that we would bring to life first. So that's, I think, the very first step actually that we are doing, looking at how processes can evolve, but then also looking at the potential value that can be delivered. A second important element that we looked at is also looking at the foundation to have agentic AI capabilities also implemented correctly. What I mean by that is we, of course, also want to make sure that we have the right solutions in place to manage and to run agentic AI capabilities on, and that we also have the right data in place. Because as you can imagine, glitches or issues actually in data quality, of course, will also result in answers or information provided by agentic AI capabilities which might not necessarily be very well understandable. So from that perspective, it's also important to have a look at your data and ensure also that this information is actually also presented in an understandable way to the people inquiring information, for example. And then the last step, I think also a very important one, is to drive adoption. What we also clearly see is that, when bringing AI capabilities to life, this is not the end of an IT journey, actually bringing something to life, but it's, I would say, also the start of much more, right? So it's very important also to ensure that adoption is being monitored, that the quality of the outcome is always guaranteed, and that we, of course, also see to what extent actually employees and managers are also adopting these capabilities. So in other words, are they using them, and looking also in how each of the capabilities are, let's say, delivering then the value that we would expect them to have. So this is basically the journey that we approach for all of the capabilities that are, let's say, also being provided by SuccessFactors. As you can imagine, we're drinking our own champagne, right? So a lot of the agentic AI capability is actually provided by SuccessFactors. We also count on adopting them, of course, internally at SAP. So just to give you a little bit of an example in the talent space, when looking at all the elements that we are basically bringing together to be able to adopt AI, I think first and foremost important to note, like as already mentioned before, that foundation needs to be there, right? So at SAP, for example, we are already using the growth portfolio of SuccessFactors. We're using Opportunity Marketplace, career and talent development, for example. So those solutions actually are, of course, very foundational to ensure that we can also adopt agentic AI capabilities and the autonomous HCM suite in general quite fast. And with that also, of course, we require quite a good data structure, right? So rich data means that, of course, also the features and functions provided by the agentic AI capabilities will function as expected. And in the context of talent management, for example, we did spend quite a bit of efforts actually over the past few weeks and months to establish a very clear and solid job architecture, a simplified skills taxonomy, really focusing also on the main skills actually that we need and that we see as business critical. So we didn't end up with a catalog of multiple 10,000s of skills, but we rather reduced actually that volume just to ensure that we are focusing on the right things. And of course, goes without saying, if we want to infuse these skills into different processes, it also means that, for example, a learning catalog needs to be tagged with skills to, of course, also ensure that if somebody would like to evolve in proficiency levels in skills, is also capable of identifying what would be the learnings that actually take you to a higher level. So Data and solutions are definitely foundational elements in this context to be able to leverage then business AI capabilities, I would say, to the maximum extent. In this example here that we are providing, the learning assistant, for example, will be one of the assistants and capabilities actually that will leverage all of these solutions and data elements. The skills assessment, the career and talent development assessment, for example. So those are three examples of, let's say, capabilities that will be made available by applying actually each of these building blocks, I would say. But of course, the story doesn't end there, right? There's much more, of course, also happening in the autonomous enterprise. And I will shortly also hand over then now to Georg, who will provide us some additional insights in what the autonomous enterprise means, and also more specifically in the HCM space. Georg, over to you, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Karl. Good. Let's have a look into the autonomous enterprise. So there are several layers, and in the middle you see this diamond symbol, which represents Joule Work as the new engagement layer across the whole suite, interacting with the different autonomous enterprises. It comes with an intent-driven cross-system orchestration, and by using built-in context to discover user intent, Joule coordinates data, workflows, and AI agents across the enterprise, eliminating the need for users to navigate multiple systems or processes to know to which application they need to go to scroll to all the screens and menus and submenus. So it makes it much more easier to interact with the business applications in natural language. On the very bottom, you will see the SAP Business AI platform, which brings together the SAP Business Technology Platform, most of you know already, AI Foundation, SAP Business Data Cloud, and SAP HANA Cloud. There is also the basis, the foundation for the build component, which enables customers to build own AI agents or extensions, workflows, and applications grounded in enterprise context. Another important component of the platform is the SAP Knowledge Graph and Business Data Cloud, grounding AI in 50 years of encoded business process expertise and mission-critical enterprise data. So with that, it enables agent to reason accurately across customers, suppliers, processes, and regulations. If you remember the example Karl showed you with the car eligibility answer to employees, this HR service assistant needs to analyze the policy and retrieve which additional data for an employee is needed to give a very personalized answer. In that example, it was the tenure, how long is the employee already with SAP, and what is the salary level to determine the eligibility and the budget of the car. So analyzing the policy and find out what additional data would be needed is one part, but then the knowledge graph enables the service assistant to know where to retrieve, in which system this metadata can be found, and with which MCP servers or APIs can be used to get the data. So this is part of this business AI platform, and the knowledge graph is a very important component, bringing this business semantics to the data and the processes. Also important as a third part of the business platform is the governance. There is a SAP AI Agent Hub, which manages all agents across the full life cycle. And this is very important because there will be in future a problem for enterprises to manage all the different agents. You can combine SAP standard agents with your own build agents, with third-party agents, and getting everything well orchestrated, evaluating the agents, activate agents, deactivate. There you really need a good management platform, and the AI Agent Hub will enable you to analyze and activate agents and also monitor the usage of the agents. In between, you see the different autonomous enterprises, the autonomous finance, spend, supply chain management, customer experience. And there is one component, the industry AI, which adds industry expertise to better enable autonomous decision making directly into industry value chains. But we today will focus on the autonomous HCM, which is an AI-powered platform that turns HR into a strategic employee growth engine. By orchestrating end-to-end process with precision and intelligently optimized workforce operation at scale. Because it is natively connected to SAP Finance, supply chain, and operations, HR isn't siloed from the business signals that drive it. And with every process, insight, and action grounded in real business context, people decisions stay connected to what the organization actually needs. You see here huge variety of agents, and maybe you switch to the next slide. All these agents will cover process automation for the whole employee life cycle, from hiring to termination or retiring. And these agentic AI capabilities you see here on this slide is only a subset of autonomous HCM, which will come with more and more assistants and agents, and a lot of them leveraging facilitating skills. As Karl already explained, skills is very important in future because the automation for employees along the employee life cycle and the recommendations are very often based on skill sets. Maybe next slide, please. Yeah, so we can show you some examples. We picked out some agents based on skills. So there is this career development agent, which identifies skill gaps and recommends a personalized career growth path. This is possible because every employee in future will have skill sets assigned to the employee himself or herself with the proficiency grade, and also the jobs will have skills and proficiency levels that are needed to fulfill the job in the right way, and with that the gaps can be analyzed. Additionally, in the career development agent will suggest learning, mentorship, role transitions, all aligned with the employee goals. The development goal creation agent generates personalized development goals from performance feedback, fulfilling all SMART criteria. So it's much more easier to have meaningful development goals based on the data already in the system and with applying the SMART criteria. And it links goals to learnings, mentors, and stretch assignments to faster execution. The learning skill agent analyzes team skill gaps and assigns targeted learning courses via natural language. It empowers the manager to build workforce readiness through skill-based learning. And this is also important. Again, the employees have skills assigned, and the learnings are also decked with skills. Here in this demo, you see that the manager is asking how what learnings can be assigned to Tom, a direct report. It comes up with 3 proposals, analyzing the skill gaps, and then it also enables you to have a look at the details of these learnings, the content, so that you can better judge, does it make sense to assign or not? And then in this case, it decided to assign all. So all 3 learnings are now assigned to Tom, and he will then follow this learning. The agent is asking back if it wants to assign additional learnings to other team members, and it's about a budget. Here again, you can then go into details of this learning and assign a single learning as well, right? So it shows how well with skill tagging of learnings and the assignment to employees, you can really assign personalized learnings in a very easy way, and it's easy for the manager to control these steps. Another set of agents are the skill evidence agent, which validates and refreshes stale employee skill profiles based on real work evidence. It improves AI recommendation quality to ensure skill data assigned to each employee that skill data assigned to each employee stays accurate and current. The skill governance agent aligns customer-defined skills to the SAP standard taxonomy. There will be a standard taxonomy, but not all customers will have the need of the same set of skills. But with this, if there are new skills are coming, trendy skills on the market, new capabilities that are needed by employees, this skill governance agent automatically updates or proposes the new skills to be added to the customer-defined skills. It maintains a clean AI-ready skill ecosystem without increasing admin overhead, because it really makes very good proposal and makes it easy to keep your skill set up to date. The job architecture maintenance agent generates comprehensive job architectures automatically using AI within Job Profile Builder. And it also continuously maintains job skill mapping, hygiene, and flags structural drift. Maybe we have a short demo on the skill governance agent. So if you want to get an update of your custom skill set, there is an analyzing running what skills to be added or renamed, and then you get some details for the skills that should be added. There are 28 trending skills are proposed to be added for you as in your custom taxonomy. And then you can decide either to add all the 28 skills or to look at the remaining 8 skills from the list. And if you agree that these are meaningful skills, you can add all the skills, and the agent will update your custom defined skills. So it's very easy to administer and to keep your skill set up to date. Good. With that, I hand back to Karl to talk about lessons learned.
Yeah, exactly. We also wanted to share a bit with you what we learned so far in our journey. because I think there's already some interesting elements that can be taken with you. The first one actually is having the foundation right. We really see that as a very critical element to be AI ready, because all of this works well with a very strong foundation, right? So having the data right, also having, for example, adopted leading practices is something that is quite important, and that also facilitates actually the adoption of AI capabilities also within the organization. And believe it or not, but also within SAP, of course, we sometimes do deviate from our leading practices. We've done that also historically, but there are areas where we're really also looking into coming back from that to ensure that we can adopt AI capabilities much faster also. I think a second element important to know is that we are really working now in a very dynamic environment. What I mean by that is that, the speed of technology is going so fast, and sometimes it's even hard to keep up with. But it also means that the dynamics actually are changing rapidly, right? And I think also for organizations to be able to follow on the sheer volume of agentic AI capabilities that are available actually, and then also to ensure that we can adopt them, but also with the necessary business reviews, for example, as I told in the beginning also, to ensure that we still have a very solid process that leverages these AI capabilities in the best way possible. From that perspective, it's also important to take into account that these dynamics actually change, and the speed with which implementations are happening is actually much, much faster than before. Last element actually that I want to share before also Georg will share a few elements is it's important also to bring people along the journey, right? So this is a change journey. We also, of course, need to make sure that people trust the system, which means that the foundation, again, needs to be right. Like the information provided and consumed by the agents needs to be accurate. Because, of course, as you can imagine, information that is not accurate will also result in an agent providing potentially the wrong answer. So from that perspective, it's quite important to ensure that this is working well. And I think it's also very important to make sure that you understand also how employees are actually asking questions and prompting you to get the necessary answers, right? So it's very important also to have that information with us. Georg, if you want to go for the next one.
Yes. So AI first transformation really needs end-to-end process design. So this holistic process design is in future absolutely important, not point solutions. If you imagine there will be also agent-to-agent communication based on the request of the user given to Joule. Joule will orchestrate which agent will be triggered and or which assistant will be triggered, but then how the request is phrased, there will be additional agents triggered by other agents to provide a better answer, and therefore the end-to-end process design needs to be very clear. We benefit from a very good definition of our HR processes in Signavio, which will be leveraged as well. And this agent-to-agent communication will also enable really a end-to-end automation of the processes. And another point is the adoption needs to be monitored for multiple reasons. The first is definitely also to look at the quality of the given answers and to improve the system, the agents, and also in regards of how many users do really use Joule and the agents in regards of value realization. Because if you invest in AI, you want to have the value, the effort reduction realized as well. And the more user are adopting a solution, the better value you can realize. And the adoption is also, it's also important, as Karl already mentioned. Adoption doesn't come from itself, and it's not enough to communicate via emails. We have seen this with our first Joule rollout. You can send a lot of emails to the employees. The problem is it really comes with behavior change. Employees need to use Joule as the one-stop shop and get used to it, that they can ask Joule everything. And therefore also integration of all the different capabilities, not only HR, but also Ariba, Concur, and so on, is super important, because then you come closer to this one-stop shop approach, and then the adoption will increase automatically. Good. With that, we have shared some lessons learned.
Yeah, that's all we wanted to share. Tania?
Perfect. Thank you so much for this really excellent and insightful walkthrough of your experiences, SAP's own experiences in installing the autonomous HCM. So let me have a look. We have a question. So how do you govern data, privacy, security, and such? Excellent question.
Yeah. Maybe I can answer. For standard AI functionality, our development needs to go through a very strict AI ethics process, which considers all the legal requirements and also European Union legal requirements. And SAP internally, we have additionally AI policy, which is even stricter than the legal rules, because we have to be sure to be very clear in our ethical decisions to drive adoption and build trust to the employees. So this is AI ethics is fully covered. If we build our own solution, we need to go through 3 different assessments to get AI ethics approval. This is the first part. Data privacy, we still have this procedure enrollment tool where we document all the processes, what data is being processed in which way, how we anonymize AI personal identifiable data before we apply AI. So this is also a standard service or feature. Before we send anything to large language model, it's anonymized so that we don't pass personal identifiable information to the large language models. And it's all documented as well. It's checked by our data privacy experts. Then the next level is that we have different controls which are checked, like SOX controls, ABC, export control, and all these things we need to document and get approval before we go live. And most important, especially as a German company, is Workers' Council. There we have a foundational agreement for very simple AI functions which do not use personal identifiable data or do not propose any decisions or do rankings of candidates, for example. We need not to negotiate with Workers' Council. We only inform the Workers' Council, but for other more critical AI functionality, we present each case and agree on how to reduce the risk of behavior control or of bias and so on. So this is also part of every AI implementation project.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Actually, basically another question, which is a continuation of this in a way, is how can agents be monitored?
Yeah, this is there is a monitoring tool in, as I explained, in the SAP Business AI platform, where you will be able to analyze the conversation log of Joule, who what questions have been raised, what was the answer, which agents have been triggered. This conversation log is pseudonymized so that normal admins cannot see who raised the question. This is also important for Workers' Council and data privacy. And but you can do with that a quality check, and additionally, you will be able to evaluate, activate and deactivate agents via this monitoring tool, the SAP AI Agent Hub.
Thank you very much. There are no further questions in the chat for the time being, so I have one within the user groups. All our customers and partners are asking a lot about Joule. So what capabilities of Joule are already in place?
That's a difficult question. There are because we are currently in a transition from the current Joule, which is available already for all customers, where we have hundreds of SAP of SuccessFactors AI use cases implemented. Everybody can activate, like updating data in in SuccessFactor, or being navigated to the right place to perform a transaction, or also the document grounding, where you can upload documents and raise questions and get a precise and personalized answer. For example, we have uploaded 4,500 HR knowledge-based articles where the employees can ask questions and get very personalized answers regarding these HR policies. And all the other areas, like in procurement and and Travel, Concur, Ariba, they have also added capabilities. But I'm focused on HR, so I cannot give you here that that precise answer. Definitely, Joule will cover the whole suite, and as you have seen with the autonomous enterprise, also the supply chain management and finance will be covered with Joule. Joule Works is somehow a new product, because with Joule Works there will be all these agents, and we showed you a list which was not comprehensive yet. The list is growing, but because we want to cover all the HR processes with agents to maximize the automation of HR processes end to end. And this will come latest in Q4, that you then also can benefit from autonomous enterprise and the new Joule.
Perfect. Thank you. So currently we don't have any new questions. So I would like to thank again Karl and Georg very much for your presentation and for answering all those questions. And a big thanks to everyone for joining this session. We hope you got a lot of value from the session. We're not done yet. Join us again on September 15 for episode 6, where we'll continue the journey of sharing SAP's best practices, this time on how to boost support and cloud operations with agentified end-to-end workflows. So have a great day, have a great evening, depending on where you are. Bye-bye.